Smooth and shiny, that's how we all like our longbows to be, isn't it? Well, yeah, as you can see, this one definitely isn't. This has got an awful lot of marks in it from the very tool that you can see on the screen, and that's a rasp. Well, fortunately, on the other side of this rasp is a file. A file is your friend. It will get rid of most of those heavy scored marks that are left in a longbow, particularly yew, which this is. This is a self-yew stave. They tend to show marks a lot more. It's a much more softer wood, much more easily bruised if you like. So yeah, using something like a file here, a flat file, you'll get rid of most of those heavy marks. For those of you who saw the title, you'll know that this video is going to be about boning, or indeed burnishing, whichever way you want to call it. Well, before we get to that, there's quite a few other stages we need to do. I'm sure you're familiar with most of them, but I'm going to do this small section of this bow here, just so you can see the comparison between finished and unfinished. Once I've finished with the file, I can move on to the scraper. Now, this is a simple cabinet scraper, a flat-edged piece of metal which removes wood, as you can see. These are really useful. If you haven't got one, I highly recommend it for making bows with. They're a really useful tool, particularly once you've got the hang of it. They're not difficult to use, but there is an art to using it. As you can see, that gets rid of most of those marks. And like any other finishing process, it's a case of then moving on to different grits of sandpaper. This one's a sort of heavy to medium grit that I'm using here. A little tip with the yew, don't use a really heavy grit, you'll just make more marks than you remove. Once you've gone down through stages of sandpaper like you'd normally do when finishing, we end up with this the very fine sandpaper, of which this is that I'm using at the moment. It's these sort of white stuff you've probably seen or probably got in a pack of sandpaper that you've bought. That, quite honestly, is usually good enough for finishing on the vast majority of woods, but with the yew, well, there's one more little tip. That's the one that's coming up. As you can see, we're still left with, well, a fair few marks and sort of white patches. Well, this is where burnishing, or boning, comes in. I've got a bone here. Don't ask me where I got it from. Probably somebody who kept asking stupid questions, probably. Well, that's my dad's joke. He always told that at the fairs that we used to go to. You'll need to find a nice smooth edge of the bone to use. And once you have, well, start rubbing. It's basically a case of placing it onto the wood and rubbing backwards and forwards. You'll need to press hard enough to compress the fibres of the yew bow to get that nice shiny finish, but not too hard that you end up rubbing marks into the bow. You can dent yew quite easily. Now, burnishing can be done with smooth stones or even plastic. I've seen people use all sorts of other things. Feel free to have a look and, well, find what suits you most. As you can see, it achieves quite a nice finish. To bring home the effectiveness of burnishing or boning, here on the left is a section that I've only finished with sandpaper, and on the right where I've used the bone. You can really see the difference. Well, I hope that's helped you all achieve a shinier stave. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more of these videos, and consider using our donate button and give us a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.